Okay, so here we have the tomatoes that have been in the dehydrator for about an hour or so, and they've got about another probably 4 to 6 hours to go. But you can see they're quite dark from the smoking, and at this stage they actually taste kind of awful. But once they sit in the oil for about a week or so, then they taste fantastic. Now, here we have the end result. So 20 kilos of Roma tomatoes yielded us basically 4 kilos of the semi-dried smoked tomatoes. So right here I've got about 25 kilos of rump steaks that are going to be sitting here in the marinade for about 24 hours, and then they're headed to the smoker, become jerky. Hi guys, so as you've seen, the smoker's been on full bore this week for this pizza of the week, and it's a smoked margherita. Now we're going to do this a little backwards to what we normally do with our margherita. We'll start with our sauce. And the backwards part is we usually cook the tomato and then put our bocconcini on fresh. In this scenario, we're actually going to cook the bocconcini and then add the tomato afterwards. Now, we've added a bit of the smoke, blended a bit of the smoke into our sauce here as well. But the bocconcini is a bit firmer now after it's been in the smoker for all those hours, so it's not going to melt in quite as nicely as or won't soften up quite as nicely as it does when it's fresh with the normal bocconcini. So we're going to cook it on the pizza. So we're just going to slice it up here. So we got the bocconcini on there, and then we'll add a bit of our regular mozzarella just to give that extra cheesiness. We don't want to get too overboard with the mozzarella or with the bocconcini, but the bocconcini spent about well, it took about 12 hours to prepare the bocconcini with about 6 hours of smoking, just like this. And this is where it's going to go into the oven, and we'll put the tomato on afterwards. Now, to prepare the tomato for the pizza, we're basically just going to cut these in half. I mean, that's a fairly concentrated piece of tomato, so you wouldn't want to get it all in one bite because it could be a bit overpowering. But the smoked flavor on these is beautiful. And if I had, and because they're in oil and smoked, if I had cooked them on the pizza, they just burn. So we want to avoid that. And of course, Margherita needs some fresh basil. So I'll just chop this up. Now, with this week's pizza of the week, we're going to have the meat version and the vegetarian version. So the vegetarian version is our smoked margherita, but with our added meat option, we have our beef jerky that we made. Now, this took me about 48 hours to prepare, and this little piece of meat here would have started out as about a 300-gram piece of steak. Now it's about 70. And because we used rump steak, it is a little more, it's quite a bit more tender than normal beef jerky by normal beef jerky standards. It's still you know, fairly hard, but we can get the knife through it. And we're going to chop this up into small pieces and then sprinkle it over top of the pizza. But this has got a bit of chili to it, so if you don't like chili, don't get it. It's not too bad, but it's not too hot, but it's there. Okay, so our pizza's come out of the oven, and to finish off, we'll just smoke tomatoes. And fresh basil. And there you have the smoked margherita. And for the meat version, we'll just sprinkle this on top too. And again, we're putting it on top. So if we cook it through the oven, it'll just dry it out further, and it doesn't need that. So the smoked jerky, smoked to Margherita. There you go.